Good morning. Monday, the 10th of the 10th of the 2-2. The one day, once a month, where the Americans write the date in the correct format. Anyway, the reason we're ranting, we're gonna look at Manchester, and we're gonna talk about the recent goings on in Ukraine and Russia. We're gonna talk about Vlad the Impaler as he impales his own prospects for the future. And we're gonna see what's going on. So, they say, the elites, our controllers, that we're at the closest to nuclear Armageddon that we've ever been since the Cuban Missile Crisis. For those of you who don't know too much about the Cuban Missile Crisis, Nikita Khrushchev, the head honcho of the Soviet Union, was upset at Kennedy and the Americans placing ballistic missiles in Turkey, which could reach the Soviet Union very quickly. The reason why the Americans had to place missiles in Turkey is that in 1962, the technology for rockets was on a kind of North Korean level. You couldn't really cross the Atlantic or Arctic Ocean and hit Russia. So they put missiles in Turkey, and the Russians started building missile facilities in Cuba. And as you know through geography, Cuba is something like 90 miles off the coast of Florida. So that never went to nuclear war because they were rational agents. Khrushchev was going, the Americans are going to start nuclear Armageddon. And the key difference is Nikita Khrushchev was saying that the Americans are going to start it. Now, Vladimir Putin isn't saying that the Americans are going to start it. He is himself directly threatening the West, directly threatening Ukraine with a tactical nuclear strike. Now, he's made the Donbass and the Luhansk actual Russian clay now. He's annexed it. Annex is one of these weird words that I only really learnt when Crimea happened almost a decade ago. You annex, you anni-Lennox the Crimea. So Vladimir Putin anni-Lennoxed the Crimea, he anni-Lennoxed Donetsk and Luhansk in the east of Ukraine, and said that anyone attacks Russian soil, I'm going to drop a tactical nuclear bomb on the Ukraine to teach you all a lesson. That's not happened. Now, what worries me is that the madman has run out of threats now. He said, I'm not going to invade Ukraine. Then he invaded Ukraine. He was going to do regime change in Ukraine. Then he's like, nah, that was just a special military operation. That was just a bluff. We were just not sending our best. And then now, he's threatened nuclear war a few times. He's got nowhere else to go. I think the best thing for the world now is if Vladimir Putin either quits or the oligarchs manage to get rid of him. Because I'll tell you what the oligarchs don't want. The oligarchs, well, who's behind me? It's Jehovah's, look, Jehovah Witnesses. They're going to witness it. They love the apocalypse. They really believe in the apocalypse, no joke. So yeah, Joe Biden, we wanted cheap gasoline, we wanted jobs, we wanted a bright future, and the future Joe Biden seems to be offering is a future so bright, it's a blinding X-ray flash that will turn you to dust if you are within 5 kilometers of the nuclear blast. That's not the kind of bright future we want, Joe. So, I hope you've all got contingency plans. My contingency plan, of course, is to take the children deep into the Scottish countryside if the tactical nukes start flying and landing in Ukraine, because the very hour that a tactical nuclear weapon is used in the Ukraine, NATO is gonna conventional weapon the fuck out of Russia, the surrounding regions, and it's pissing down with rain. Every single Russian battalion in Ukraine will get NATO'd to smithereens. And how's Vladimir Putin going to respond to that? He's like, oh, they haven't pulled back after I've done a small nuke. And these nukes aren't that small. You know, some of the larger tactical battlefield nukes are almost as big as what they dropped on Nagasaki or Hiroshima. Or do you pronounce it Hiroshima? Hiroshima. Hiroshima. Sashimi? Hiroshima. So, yeah, they drop a tactical nuke. You know, it's like World War II. The children get evacuated out of London, out of Manchester, out of Edinburgh, out of Glasgow. Even places that you don't think will get nuked, like Swansea or Cardiff, will probably get nuked. That's if it escalates. I'm not here to do fear porn. I'm just here to do reason porn. The rational porn. So when nukes start flying, if they start flying, don't just hope for the best. Don't be deluded like all the people in that amazing film called Don't Look Up, with Meryl Streep as the president and Leonardo DiCaprio as the Fauci figure. Don't just hope for the best, because you're all going to die. Hello.
Everything he's saying is a lie. It's all lies. It's all lies. Take no notice. It's all lies. Everything you've been told is a lie.
Correct, William. How are you?
All right.
Good man.
You say Marco Polo is intelligent.
Hey, Matthew. How are you? Good to see you. All right. Oh, good. So yeah, as William said, be careful with the news. Everything you're being told is a lie. It's not quite as bad as that. You're being told what is useful for you to know. As a worker unit, as a peasant in Aircraft Carrier 1, which is Great Britain, you know, make sure the peasants are thinking the right things. So as I was saying, interesting times. It's even subdued the crackheads in Manchester a bit. I've had a good bit of luck recently with a bit of dramatic footage, but the hourly drama, the hourly cracky business has kind of evaporated in the face of nuclear Armageddon. People's desire to act like little scrotal sacks of Satan, it's totally subdued, and probably for a good thing. And look, the Great British Bake Off is coming back to Channel 4. Google's launched a new telephone. Keep buying, keep consuming. But no. First tactical nuke gets used. Move your children and your loved ones deep into the countryside. Don't leave them near any large industrial areas, i.e. cities. Unfortunately, Manchester has the largest industrial area in Europe. It's going to get nuked so hard. All this around me, soon it will all be glass. It will all be glass, weird isotopes of carbon, and radioactive waste from the uranium and plutonium and the other exciting metals that they use to build their insane weapons of stupidity. That's all I have to say, really. Stay alive, stay cold, stay alert, and don't hope for the best when the nukes start flying.